All right, hello again, folks. I'm back here with part two of the RCBS MatchMaster versus the AutoTrickler V3. After I posted the last video, the part one of this little series, a fella or two commented under the video there that I did not know all there was to know about the MatchMaster, and they were absolutely correct. So after digging a little bit deeper, it turns out that you can download the RCBS app, and I think you can also do this going through the keypad, but it's much more of a headache to try to do it through there. But anyway, you can download the RCBS app on the a tablet or whatever, and connect up to the machine via Bluetooth. And good gosh, is there ever a million different ways to change the settings on this thing? You have, let's see, you can label it for whatever powder that you want to do, and sort of like save this setting. But there's the dispense speed, which I've got it set for the slowest, and the mode set for match. But then down here is where you get into all the fine tuning things. So you can set the minimum operation for the large tube, and then the stop point. So the stop point's like when it gets 14 grains away from your target charge. Then the small tube is going to stop when it gets, oh no, wait, that's 14. It's not 14 grains away right there. It says 7 grains away. The numbers are sort of like a code. So it's 14 represents 7. Here, setting 21 represents the small tube to stop running at 0.42 grains away. And anyway, I mean, it goes on and on down through here. There's like angle of rotation, response time, and again, these numbers are just codes. You're just speaking the language that the software engineers designed this thing to be operated by. But I mean, there's tons of these settings. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 8 different fine-tuned settings on this app. And I messed with these settings. Let me make sure that I do actually have the one set up that I want. In use, activate. Okay, there we go. Yeah, so it should be set. Anyway, I messed with those little fine-tuning settings for probably the better part of an hour, and this is as good as I could come up with. So let's it's the trickling that gets it, I think, because this thing is really bad to dispense clumps. So that was what, 19 seconds or so, and it stopped at a good spot there. But if I was pushing the boundaries, trying to make it run even faster, and and I kept getting overcharges, because when it drops out little clumps of powder like that, like if it's at 43.94 and then it drops out a little clump of powders, it'll go like, way over its target charge. I've had it throw as much as a tenth over. Now, like right now, that was at 21 seconds, and I've heard some people say they could get theirs down to 10 seconds. I could not do that. See, that's about as fast as you could possibly hope for it to get to its target weight before it started trickling. I mean, we're only, less than a half a grain away. But that's what gets it, is just anything I've tried faster would make it overcharge. And this is one thing that kind of irks me a little bit. Well, like there it threw over, you know, about a kernel's worth or whatever. But I have had it do much, much worse. So one thing that kind of irks me about this is, you know, the MatchMaster and the AutoTrickler. I mean, they both run more than $900, right? So if you're paying $900 for this powder dispenser, you know, why is RCBS leaving it up to you to have to go through here and finish programming the thing? You know, they had those initial 4 powder dispensing settings that I first only thought were available. Why wouldn't they just offer you 8 powder settings? And they go through all the, you know, the headache of fine tuning the thing for different powders. Because I mean, let's face it, there's really only 2 kinds of powder out there. 3 if you really want to push it, but you got stick powder, you've got ball powder, and flake powder. And flake and ball are, you know, they act so similarly that, you know, I don't even know if I'd put them in a different classification. But, you know, you would think since there's really only stick powder, and there's some powders that have a little longer stick and some that are a little shorter stick, but if there's really kind of only stick powder and ball powder, you would think like 8 or 9 different powder settings, you know, should handle that spectrum. You know, and RCBS, you know, software engineers or whatever should be able to go in there and do all this headache of work to get your dispenser, you know, throwing pretty much any kind of powder out there that you want really fast, instead of leaving it on you to have to sit here for an hour and change the millisecond timing. Like literally on the app, it shows you how many milliseconds some of the changes you're making affect the dispenser. I'm like, what are you paying for? I mean, you're paying $900, whereas like on my AutoTrickler, I mean, there's 2 things to adjust. There's the big slider in the back and the tilt of the trickler. That's it. You know, and even if you've got those way off, the thing still works pretty good. Whereas this thing, you know, it really doesn't matter. You've kind of got to get it in a pretty sweet spot if you're wanting it to run pretty fast and not throw over. But again, I mean, I could go into the app, change one little setting on the trickling, and it would start trickling over almost every time. See, that time you saw like one rotation or one little trickle's worth took it almost 1/10 of a grain up to its target charge, and we just got lucky that it stopped like that. Had it been on at about 43.96 and then that same clump come out, which is what's happened to me 100 times, you know, it would send it up to like almost 44.1 or whatever. But I tell you what, I might go ahead, I might try to change one of those settings that we were talking about here. Let's see, which one should we change? Long trickle, short trickle. Here we go. Angle of rotation. Right now it says the trickle will last for 25 milliseconds. I think you guys can see that. All right, let's change that to 1. And oh yeah, now it's being, sometimes the apps is a little funky. Okay, now it's giving me the option to change it. Okay, angle of rotation. All right, now I can save it. And I can hit that little button and activate it. I'll just go ahead and overwrite setting 6 again. Okay, it should be activated. So now, oops, sorry, I should have started my timer. Now that time it didn't do it. Let's let it try it one more time. All right. There you go, 44.1. Like I said, I was a little worried the thing was going to make a liar out of me while I got on camera with it, but that's all that I changed is just that one little number. Now, if you really want to start messing with it, start changing that the big dispensing tube setting, or you know, some of the other settings that control when the tubes start. Oh, this one's probably really going to go over. It actually didn't go over as bad as I thought it did, or would, because it didn't stop until it was almost right at the target charge. But yeah, when you start excuse me, when you start messing with the settings of when the tubes stop rotating, that really makes a difference. Well, there, it didn't throw over too bad that time. But anyway, yeah, sure, you can fine tune it to a point to where it does pretty good. But you better have the patience of Joe while you're sitting here, because I mean, seriously, I did this for like, well, at least an hour, just playing around with all these different little settings, and it just takes almost next to nothing to upset the system. And that time it stopped. I mean, so far, it's actually been doing kind of okay. Again, with the way my luck works, it will always make a liar out of me while I'm on video. But you kind of have to keep your eye on it if you were going to load and not wanting to throw an overcharge. Yeah, like right there, it did a good job again. But again, it kind of irks me just a little bit why RCBS wouldn't go ahead and put the effort into this, get it close. And like I said, they give you 4 powder settings to start with. Why not just double that up and give you 8 or whatever, to where you don't have to go in there and adjust 7 or 8 different settings on this thing. You know, it seems like there could have been a much simpler way of going about this, you know, especially considering the price point at which these things come in at. But anyway, so there's the end of this comparison. Hopefully, it's shown you enough about each machine to help you make a decision if you're in the market for one of these, you know, 200th of a grain dispensers. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and I'll be talking to you again soon.